Hey, you guys, for those who don't know, my name is Alisa Diane. You guys are tuned in for part two of my filmmaking inspirational video. So last video, we did the three women who are influential in my filmmaking journey, and that was Issa Rae. We did Shonda Rhimes and Ava Duvernay. So in this video, we're going to do the male version of that, and I'm going to name four men who have been very influential in my filmmaking journey. And because the industry is male dominated, it's really no surprise that there is one more male influencee or influencer on my list than it is females, but nonetheless, stay tuned and I'm going to drop those names momentarily. So, hailing in at number four, we have writer, director, and producer Malcom D Lee. Malcom D Lee is the director of movies such as Night School, Girls Trip. He also did Wu-Tang, The American Saga. But my two favorites are the films that he wrote and directed, and that would be The Best Man and The Best Man Holiday. He also is coming out with The Best Man Wedding, which I cannot wait to see. But I was introduced to him, of course, in 1999 when he came out with The Best Man. And I just like the way he portrays vulnerability, the way he portrays the African American experience, and just how he weaves his story together, his directorial eye. I just really appreciate what he brings to the table. So he is definitely one of my favorites and someone that I can keep watching the movies over and over and over again. And that's always a good indicator that something is great. So Malcom D Lee is one of mine. So coming in at number three is none other than the super talented and brilliant Spike Lee. I kind of grew up on Spike Lee's films. I think he made his debut with She's Gotta Have It in 1986, so I would have been roughly 4 years old at the time. But he is the mastermind behind School Days, Crooklyn, Mo Better Blues, Malcolm X, The Black Klansman. He's done so many different films, but my favorite would have to be School Days. So I think I might have been about five or six when that came out, and I love to sing "Don't You Wish I Had Hair Like This, Then the Boys Would Give You a Kiss." And it was one of those things that, definitely explored colorism within the African American community, and that was one of the things that he was really good at, dealing with race relations and things like that. And so Lee really dove into the Black experience, and that's one of the things that I really respect about him. And even though his films at times would be really, weirdly filmed, I mean, the camera would zoom in on characters and, just have his signature thing in it. I thought it was so weird growing up, but as I've gotten older and become an independent filmmaker myself, I realized that he did a lot of his own stuff. He put a lot of his resources behind what he was doing, and he really believed in the stories that he wanted to tell, even with like Girl Six. I mean, just exploring so many different things within the Black community. It was just really epic. And then, he was nominated twice for an Academy Award. He did not win, but he did in 2019 get an honorary Oscar for his contribution to filmmaking. So that was pretty dope. But coming in at number three is none other than Spike Lee. So coming in at number two, I don't think this person really needs any formal introduction. He is the boss man himself, Mr. Tyler Perry. He is phenomenal in so many different aspects. I mean, from writing to directing to owning his own compound, because that's what it is, a full-fledged compound. He has the biggest functioning studio in the nation, and that is pretty epic for someone who is African American. That's huge. And just from his plays all the way down to his films and his TV shows, just everything that he's done and put his hand on. I really admire that. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of ambition and determination. And he comes from a really rough background, and he pulled himself up by the bootstraps and became someone epic, like something that we'll always remember for years and decades and centuries to come. Tyler Perry is definitely one to watch. He is someone who I think will continue to do greater and greater things. And so when we see people who have such stature and such clout and such, wealth and creativity, you kind of tend to, research and dig and follow those type of individuals so that you can kind of see the model and kind of try to, patent yourself accordingly. So, my favorite film of his that I can watch over and over and over again would have to be his first one, A Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Um, there's just so much I can say about that film. It was really good. I loved the storyline. I loved how it came across. I also like A Family That Prays. I like Daddy's Little Girls. Um, I really adore, his work. And so yes, coming in at number 2 would be Mr. Tyler Perry. So, coming in at the number 1 spot is none other than Will Packer. He's not a writer director per se, but he is a producer and he is bossed up in a major way. Him and his friend Rob Hardy had a production company here called Rainforest Films, and they were cranking out films like no other. Although he wrote on a few of his earlier stuff, he is basically known as a producer, and he's produced films such as Girls Trip, Think Like a Man, Twa, Motives, The Gospel, This Christmas. I mean, he's done some pretty amazing things, and to be a young African American male that is bossed up and is producing films of that magnitude, you can't really do nothing but respect that. So for that and just the type of stuff that he's putting out there, I totally look up to that. I totally, dig what he's doing. So Will Packer, number 1. So those are my male filmmaking inspirations. And if you have not heard of them or you have not seen their work, I strongly encourage you to Google them, IMDB them, look at their work, check them out. They've done some pretty amazing things, and their stories are so rich and so full and so amazing. But that's it for me in this video. Leave down in the comments below who your inspirations are, whether they're male or female. Let me know who you're watching. Let me know what movies you're into, what your favorites are, so I can go check those out. But if you have not subscribed, go ahead and do that. Like, comment, and share. And I will see you guys in the next video.